Good afternoon, good evening, and good morrow, everybody. My name is Brant from the Moosecast. I'm sick, so we didn't have a podcast this week before Christmas. Happy holidays, by the way, to everybody. Kind of wanted to give a little bit of an update on what's going on with the podcast. So we're trying to do this thing weekly. It's been kind of difficult figuring out everybody's schedules. I kind of want to, keep it to where we're having like 3 people per podcast. I know the last podcast was 2 people. So it was a little bit stripped down compared to the previous ones. But I kind of wanted to explain kind of what we're doing for everything. For those of you who don't know, we have this podcast available both on SoundCloud and YouTube. SoundCloud's a little bit iffy right now because in order for us to keep saving podcasts for future use and future plays, like if you want to later on listen to an older podcast, it'll be harder and harder because the way that SoundCloud does it, you need to buy a specific thing. So if you want to support the podcast, we could do something for that. I know there's not many listeners as of now, but we are hoping to grow our little community here. So yeah, we're available on SoundCloud as well as YouTube. YouTube is the better alternative, and the reason being we could upload as many of these podcasts as we want. They're all available there in a concise format. And we're able to also occasionally do things like we did with the last podcast. If people didn't notice, we put footage of Dota in the background. So what we could do in the future is, even while we're playing a game, we can discuss the game that we're playing and just have it on in the background. That gives people something to, watch. And not just listen to. Obviously, people on SoundCloud can't listen to those things. But what we might do is we might have a specific set of videos that are only available on YouTube. So, for instance, if we're playing Payday 2, we might have a Payday 2 podcast, which also consists of us doing one of the missions. So It could be something that we could do in the future. Let us know in the comments section or anywhere on SoundCloud or social media. So yeah, that's been going on with that. We really want to have some viewer feedback, I feel, with this. I know it's kind of, like I said, we're kind of a small podcast, but I really want to kind of get some more feedback on listeners. If anybody has any suggestions for future podcasts or future, I mean, if we get famous enough, we could have guests on, but that's way down the line. I would like to continue doing what we've been doing, just kind of having people, my friends usually, showing up to podcasts and talking about games that we've played. So yeah, if you want to keep on supporting the podcast, we would love that. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on SoundCloud. You can follow me on Twitter at Sir_Mooseword. And you could probably just look in the description of this video / this SoundCloud podcast. You could follow me there, and I will definitely post links to that sort of thing. We haven't created like a Facebook or anything, or a specific Twitter for the podcast, mainly because we don't have enough viewers. Which, surprisingly, we've gotten a decent amount of viewers in both YouTube and SoundCloud. There's actually a surprising number of listeners who have enjoyed the previous podcasts. And I know it's not me. I expected it to just be, me and a few of my friends listening to the podcast and being like, oh, that's funny. But no, it's people who are willing to listen, and that's an amazing thing for me, to think that people are actually listening. It kind of gives me some motivation to keep going with it. So yeah, if there's any suggestions you guys have, let us know. I'm definitely willing to kind of change up the format, make this a little bit more interesting. And also, for those of you who know, also that I do streaming, twitch.tv/sir_mooseword. That's been a lot less frequent as of late, mainly because I've been sick. I've been meaning to get back into streaming and stuff like that. And it's possible that we could do live stream podcasts in the future as well, and kind of get some chat feedback and that sort of thing. But I just kind of wanted to let you guys know what we're planning on doing for the future of the podcast. I know it's a small podcast so far, but we're willing to do whatever it takes to continue and progress and grow. So thank you guys. I hope you guys had a great holiday. It's the end of the new year, so one of my resolutions is keeping up on this podcast and streaming more. Also trying to say and a lot less, because I'm supposed to be professional or some shit. Alright, you guys have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon, whatever. Stay safe this holiday season, and have a good one. Thanks.